in House of Saviors this year. It's going to be the best year ever because if you have been following since when we did goal scoring, you will know that we did talk about that the year 2026 is the first of the next 10 years, and then you can't be lost. Honestly, if you ask me, what I feel like doing is to make the meeting a closed meeting this year. I think that the fact that the meeting is readily available gives some people, the notion that they can just cherry pick and show up when they feel like showing up. And if everyone behaves like that, I don't know how the meeting is going to grow. I am not a crowd person. 2,000 people, 10,000. That's not me. I love small meetings where we can monitor the growth of the people over time, where we know everyone. I mean, I love small groups, right? And that's exactly what I feel like doing. But I can't unilaterally take that decision. I'm going to have to ask the leaders, right? So, for example, we are 40 in this meeting. If we can warehouse this 40 and be telling the 40, this is where we are doing our meeting next, this is where we are doing our meeting next, because what we have to share this year is very, very strategic. Very, very strategic. And you will understand because what I'm sharing today, you know, is a stuff that, they are like secrets that people will hardly not share. And if they have to share, they will collect a lot of money because it's born out of deep research. And I do not like that idea when we share those kind of things and people can run with it. But we want to say welcome and thank you very much for joining us today. Well, so how did your holiday go? Let me say on the chat box, how did your holiday? How was it for you? Christmas, New Year holiday? Did you rest? Okay, let me know. Yes or no, did you rest? Confess your sins right now before we get into what we have to share. Okay, where is everybody? I can't see anybody in the chat box. What's going on? I need you guys to respond very fast this year. Did you rest during the holiday? Did you enjoy your holiday? Let me see you respond. Okay, no rest. Temilola, what happened? Are you rested? I didn't fully rest because I have kids, six kids, 3 to 19, 16. Oh, wow. Yemi did not rest. Okay. Yemi, we're going to Mexico. So we're going to take your phone away from you in Mexico. The holiday was good. Uduak, small rest. Star MVC. Oh, wow. Star MVC rested. Wow. My year is made. If you rested, Biodun, I didn't rest. What's going on? People did not rest. Please, this year, work 6 days, rest 1 day. Okay? I know someone is going to say, PF, preach to yourself. They don't know that at least I try to catch 6 hours of sleep every day. I rested for the first time Christmas. Okay, good. So well done, everyone. Well done, well done, well done. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing um, something today, and I want you to pay close attention. You might need to listen to what I'm sharing over and over and over again, right? And I want to believe that you will find a way to get the recording, right? I want to believe that media is streaming or they are recording, whichever one. I know they must be doing one of it. Right. And so I wanted to pay attention to today's session because you will need this session for the journey ahead. I am going to say things that I normally will not say. So when you hear me say something, it's because I have had to change over the last 1 year. So I was praying and preparing for this meeting and trying to put my slides together like I normally do. And then the Lord said to me, go back 100 years ago and study what happened 100 years ago because the world has turned a cycle And what happened 100 years ago is going to repeat itself. Now, I struggled with that instruction, but you see, the way God speaks to me is not dramatic. I don't hear my son, my son. I just see an impression and I see pictures in my mind. And so I had to go back. And what I found was very instructive and very interesting, that you will need to listen to this twice or maybe three times to fully grasp what I'm sharing. It's a bit coded. You will need to decode it. You will need to sit on it, meditate on it. If you don't, you will still remember this message when it begins to unfold. So today I'm sharing on the arrival of system aliens, 1925 to 2026. We're going to be looking at the old world in 1925, and we're going to look at the new world from 2026. So pay close attention. Now, the first question I wanted to figure out when the Lord spoke to me about this was, what exactly happened in 1925? I hope there's nobody that was born in 1925 in this meeting. Any ancestor here, you were born in 1925, you were alive in that, can you say hi? Okay, I know there's no hi here. Truth is, in another 100 years, all of us will not be here. Another group will be having this meeting. And then they'll be referring to this meeting and to our world in 2026, right? And so, in 1925 was the midpoint of a massive global reset that began after the World War 1918 and crystallized in the late 1920s. So it was a turning point for our world in 1925. And 2025 was also the end of a decade, the end of an era. I know that many of us will start our decade in 2021 to 2030, but every time you need to understand the handwriting on the wall and what is happening around the globe. A decade ended 2025. There was an era that ended 2025 and a new vista opened up in 2026. And so what were these things that happened in 2025? Now, before 1920, right? Power was inherited. Pay attention. What that means is that your father was a king, and whether you were prepared for leadership or not, leadership was given to you. It was the era of what's it called now? The kingship era, royalty era, where royalties went to war. So you have people who were kings, dynasties. That was the era, right? Power was inherited. It was in the bloodline. Once you were born as a king's son, you were a prince, you were entitled to royalty. As a matter of fact, if your father is getting older, you could literally tell him that you are getting old, I want to be king, and your father can ship you off somewhere else where you will go and establish a new village and become a king there. Now, wealth was land-based before 1920. Leadership was aristocratic. And so if you are someone who is used to all those aristocratic movies, you will see the way they dress. There was a particular mode of dressing, Influence was tribal, royal, or colonial. I mean, 1920s was the rise of the British empire, where they had started colonizing. I mean, they were emerging, and then the Roman Empire and the rest of them, had gone into, and the Greek Empire, those ones had been bygone, right? And so influence was tribal, royal, and colonial. America was gradually rising. Now, around 1925, the world quietly shifted. Now, notice that every change is not noise. It's not announced, but it happens. And how you know is this. Let me ask you a question. How many of you were born, when you were born, typewriter was what you met? Can you type I? Let me be sure, right? Can you type I? You were born when typewriter was what you met. You never saw any desktop computer when you were born. Okay. Almost everyone in this meeting met typewriter. Good. Did they announce to you, did you see any announcement that typewriter was going to die and laptop or desktop was going to be birthed? Was there any announcement anywhere? Anywhere, right? If okay, no announcement. Okay, so you can type no, right? No announcement. It just our world just evolved under our nose, as if we just slept and woke up. Everything just changed. I remember in 1984, you could literally, I mean, if you were stealing in Nigeria, your fear was that if they caught you, you were going to face the firing squad. We used to go and watch them execute people in that year and time. We knew the families that were wayward. We knew that. So there was no corruption as we have it right now, even though it existed, but it wasn't this pronounced. Everything shifted in 1985 when Babangida became president of Nigeria. It became democratized. Corruption became democratized, right? And so there was no announcement. Every major change happening around the world does not come with any announcement. And so the world quietly shifted. The kings thought they were in power. How many kings, how many monarchs in Africa right now can you look at and say this man can decide what happens in his territory? In fact, the kings are at the mercy of the governors. How did that change happen? How did that happen in our world, right? That nobody announced anything. So corporate power came into being. Industrial systems were institutionalized. Financial institution became a thing. Trade by barter gave way. Bureaucratic governance began to hold sway. As a matter of fact, democracy began to take shape. Technocratic leadership. So an illiterate who was a royalty could no longer rule because the world has become a bit sophisticated. So you couldn't be an illiterate and now become a governor. In that world, an MC Oluomo will become a governor. Not in the world became after 1925. Now, those who understood systems rules, those who relied on tradition declined. The world is about to reset itself. Everything you thought you knew is going into extinction. So don't hold tightly to your analog way. Don't hold tightly to what you thought you knew, right? You can imagine someone is somewhere in a village and is seeing a vision of an innovation, and the vision is seen is a typewriter. By the time it gets to Lagos and presented, people will be wondering, where are you been? This one, we stopped using it in 1990, right? And so there was a shift from empire to systems in 1925. Now, here were the things that happened. One, money was re-engineered in 1925, and that created new billionaires. So there were key developments. So if you are into fintech, finance, corporate finance, financial coach, you need to pay attention to this. Between 1925 and 1926 forward, there was expansion of central banking influence. There was the rise of investment banking. Stock markets became mainstream. Credit systems began to expand. Corporations could scale without personal wealth. So money stopped being personal. Physical, and tied only to gold or land. Money became institutional, leveraged, market-driven. And so people who understood capital system and financial infrastructures won. We are in that era again. If you understand capital system, financial infrastructure, even though now it's now going to become systems and AI powered, you are going to become extremely wealthy. Number two thing that happened was industrialization becomes standardized. Those who mastered process in 1925 became rich, like Henry Ford, while those who mastered skill alone were left behind because mass production, process engineering, and assembly lines took over. So Henry Ford introduced what the world has never seen before: mass production. The moment he introduced mass production, every product that went in the route of mass production and networking, totally dominated the market. That was how Mary Kay, all of them, the distribution channel around the world changed. That is about to happen again. Number three, There was the rise of the rise of modern professional class. The world shifted from who are you to what systems do you control. So it shifted from who are you? Oh, I'm an aristocrat. I'm a Rockefeller, or I am what's this guy's name? The Greek guy that took over the world, Alexander the Great. The world shifted from who are you? I'm a Mandela. Don't you know who I am? No, it's the rise. It was the rise of the underdogs. And now we are getting into another rise of the underdog. So he moved to what system do you control? That world began to create, that's the first time in the history of our world that we began to have CEOs, professional executives, policy architects, and consultants. So titles replaced bloodlines. We are in that stage again. Titles, functionality is going to replace bloodlines. Now, media narrative and influence became centralized. In 1926, radio became mainstream, newspapers went national, propaganda became scientific, public opinion could be engineered. And that's why if you look at that world, you will see that many politicians simply learned how to take over media system. So if you were in Nigeria, Obafemi Awolowo owned Tribune. Was it Tribune or Sketch? Everybody owned something. MK Abiola owned Concord newspaper. Those guys did not start newspapers because they wanted to sell news. No, they understood the power of media to script propaganda. And if you look at our world right now, we are moving into streamers, right? Streamers are becoming the new propaganda merchants. And then AI is becoming, so you can literally start a church and then you are not the pastor. AI is the pastor. In fact, they said last year that the most listened to song was AI produced. The most listened to artist last year, I can't remember the name of the guy, was not even a human being. It was AI, right? Those who controlled media, messaging, information flow, control mass behavior because new leaders understood perception system, not just truth. So many of you are truth driven, but you are not narrative driven. You need to learn to drive narrative, drive agenda. Narrative is not truth, it's not lies. Narrative is narrative. It positions you in the heart of the people to begin to feel somehow about you. That was how political system grew. Brands became powerful. Celebrities replaced royalties. And that's why the Oni of Ife, for example, will need the influence of maybe a Pella to trend certain things he's doing. And Pella is a boy who is less than 21, but he's streaming. A Kata Efe is streaming, and the whole world is watching. We are at that phase again where celebrities, will replace royalties. Just that celebrities are dead as far as 2025 is concerned. We are now moving into celebrities that own systems that can scale. Now, follow me carefully. Geopolitics in 1925 moved from kings to structures. So international treaties replaced royal decrees. Borders were redrawn by committees, not warriors. Have you asked yourself, how did Southern Protectorate and Northern Protectorate, how did they merge? How did they draw the map of Africa in a way that Benin Republic, their national language is French, but then the largest ethnic group in Benin Republic are the Yorubas? How did they draw the map of Africa such that they put unlike minds together within the same country, such that they will be fighting wars and they will implode within for the rest of their lives? How did they match Southern Nigeria and Northern Nigeria when they don't even share similar culture? So borders were redrawn by committees, not warriors. The British Royal Niger Company, someone sat in the midst of his room on top of a woman and renamed the country. Colonial administration became bureaucratic. Power moved from charisma to structure. If your power is charisma driven, I'm sorry to say we are in the end of that era. It must now be structure driven. Now, who were the winners and the losers of 1925. The winners were the people who understood systems before others. So it's called first movers advantage. The winners were those who built scalable organization. Whatever you are doing, it must be able to scale. You must have a template that you can hand over to someone who can replicate it almost immediately. 3, leverage institution instead of individuals. People who leverage institution instead of individuals, they won. People who controlled infrastructure like finance, production, media. It's a no-brainer. We need to set up a media company. We need to be able to drive narrative because media is always king, right? Number 5, people positioned early in emerging industries. So some of you are in an emerging industry, right? You need to position very early. People move from emotion and tradition to process or order, right? If you are driven by emotion, you think your business is driven by emotion. I mean, I was emotionally driven in my business for a long time, but 2025 ended it, right? You've got to be driven by systems, and systems are not emotional. You are tracking everyone working with you. What exactly are they doing? You cannot be emotional and in the bid to be Mr. Nice, you are going to circumvent and sacrifice your business, and it's going to run down. The people will find their square root anyways. The losers were the land rich, but system poor. So owning a land right now is not enough. Can you do a JV? You have a land in prime spot in Lagos and blah, blah, blah. You are saving it? No. If you have a land in Ikoyi, go and look for JV. Let them put structure in the place. They can put like a 13 or 14 flats in there, and then you retain like 5 or 10, and then let them own the rest. Let them sell them. You can't be land rich but system poor. And when I mean land, not just ordinary land, land represents your talent and everything that is found under the ground. So your talent, everything in its natural state is in your land. If it doesn't have a system, you will be frustrated. Bible says the labor of the fool wearies him because he does not have the roadmap to the city. The losers are the ones who are skilled but unscalable. Of what essence is your shorthand skill? Shorthand is still offered in some schools. Fortran is still offered, but how can you scale Fortran? How can you scale shorthand? Charismatic but undocumented. You are charismatic. People love you. They warm up to you like me. But is the process documented? Can you license it? Right? Lastly, traditional leaders without institutional backing. So if you are that leader who is just traditional and you say politics is not my thing, politics is what is going to finish you. You've got to have institutional backing. So any government in power has to be your friend. You can't be in opposition. That's the truth. Now, the next 10 years is the decade of systems, stewardship, and succession. The next 10 years. We used to be tribe. It was a decade of tribe and teams. In fact, we were late to the party for tribe and teams. But now the world is shifting into systems, stewardship, and succession. And you know, you can't do succession without systems. And that's why the super rich are building family offices to power the next 7 generations. And if you have been attending our Walls and Gates Challenge, if you have not been attending that, you have missed out terribly, right? We are on day 7, or day 6. Day 6 was this yesterday. We are on day 7 right now, right? If you have not been part of it, you have missed out because we are dealing with the 11 systems that people need to pay attention to if you are going to build families for the next 7 generations. Now, in this decade, you will see how this was exactly what happened 100 years ago. I didn't understand this until the Lord said to me, go study what happened 100 years ago. This next 10 years, you need to move from charisma to continuity. The next decade will punish founder dependency. If everything is dependent on you as the founder, you will get punished because one sickness is over. Celebrity leadership, emotional authority. So you are emotionally blackmailing people. You are, bullying them emotionally. It's not going to work. It's going to reward codified values. And in setting your values, people are not going to like you. In setting up your system, they will think, you are too hard. You are too harsh. But hello, The people that will stay will stay. The people that will go will go. So don't be afraid to lose people. Succession plan. You need to now be intentional about your successors. Institutional memories, transferable framework. Very similar to what happened 100 years ago. We're moving from teams to intergenerational structures because teams are short-term, systems are generational. If you build a team right now, somebody can wake up and say, I experienced that firsthand. I didn't even know the Lord was warning us. Firsthand, right? If somebody leaves your business and everything comes crashing, it's the true test of that business to say you have not done the right systems. The next decade is about legacy design, succession intelligence, transgenerational thinking, family constitutions, and culture preservation systems. So it's about systems. It's about systems. It's about systems. And so in House of Saviors, 2026, which is the first year of the next 10 years, it's our year of power and prosperity. Basically, what we are doing this year is we are preparing the new power blocks for the palace. That was the instruction the Lord gave us, right? So it's, and when I mean prosperity, don't think bank account alone, right? It's basically putting power system, prosperity systems in place. Now, in 2026, what the Lord had said is that we should get the people ready for palace. So every of our meeting this month is going to be boring. It's not going to be exciting, boring, because they're going to be systems driven. But you see, the boring things are actually the things that are long lasting. Every time you see excitement, hey, share it. No. It's low spam count. It excites, it won't impregnate. Right? Number two, we need to be pushed into responsibilities and territories. No more hiding place. You now need to be pushed. Right? Number three, we need to position ourselves intentionally. So healthcare is a challenge in Africa. Who is in healthcare for us? Politics. Who is in politics for us? Who is in distribution, the chain for us? Who is in IT? Who is in tech? Who is in media for us? Right? So you are not going for yourself. If you are still thinking, what shall I eat? What shall I wear? Then you don't even need to be here. You need to go beyond your personal needs and now know that you are representing a people, a group. We're going to pray this year, right? And you must have seen that in my words. That's the first time we're praying. I mean, I don't do things because everybody's doing them. We've never done that before, right? And then we're going to teach systems that help people win this year. So every of our topic every month is going to be systems driven. And then we're going to do a whole lot at the level of the zonal level. Our major programs will be Walls and Gates Challenge, which we are already on day 6. If you didn't join us, we are going to day 11. We fast every day. We come to pray. We come to share. And we're learning systems, right? And so if you have missed out, I don't know how we can help you. Maybe they can share the link with you, all right? And then we're going to have House of Saviors Planet this year, which is our next generation. We're going to be having meetings for our young adult, right? We're going to figure out how that is going to work because we need to now, succession is part of the next 10-year plan. So we need to get them on board. And then Investment Edge with Passioneers Cooperative, they're already working on that. They want to invest for people who have $1 million quarterly and $1 million annually. Then summer break, annual conference and zonal conferences. UK is going to have their conference. America is going to have their hangout. Nigeria is going to have their conference. We're going to do impact projects like setting up systems that can take care of people who can't take care of themselves. Now, emotion-based leadership is falling and it's going to fail. System-based governance is rising. So it's no longer me, it's now us. Horsepower is going to take preeminence. So you want to belong to a caucus, for lack of a better word, that is us, that is not me. Passion without structure is dying. Influence without system is going to fade. 1925 rewarded those who stopped relying on tradition and learned to engineer systems. And the next decade is going to reward the same. So what happened in 1925 was not loud. It was structural. It's the same thing. What I'm sharing today, not many will hear this message until we're already 5 years into the decade. And that's why don't just listen to it and get excited. What I'm sharing, we still need to unpack and unpack and unpack and unpack and unpack because it's a bit coded, right? And those who missed it spend the next 100 years trying to catch up. Some of our fathers were in that meeting 100 years ago. Some of our mothers were in that meeting. Our grandfather, great grandfather, they were in that meeting. Maybe they were sleeping, or their mind was on something else, or they didn't even understand what was being shared. And they played catch up. The descendants of the people who ran with what was shared, they are the ones controlling the world. So the question is not what is happening now. The real question is, do you understand the system shift early enough to benefit from it? So our conversations cannot be, the investment I made last year, that's good. Keep on doing it. But there are new vistas of opportunities opening up. How are we taking positions there? Right? And so I went the extra mile. So this was where I wanted to stop this message today. And then as I was tidying it up, the Lord said to me, do a comparative analysis of what was and what is going to be. Right? And so I wasn't meant to share this other part, but I'll share it nevertheless. So I was doing a comparative analysis of 100 years ago and now. Now, in source of power, 1925, it was land and empire. From 2026, it started 2025, it's going to be platforms and systems. It was aristocracy in 1925. It's going to be architects this time around. And I don't mean architects as a profession, those that can design. It was bloodline in 1925. It's now going to be blueprint. So if you know anybody doing it well, you can go and borrow their blueprint, get license, go and serve them, go on internship, go on service, do everything to learn the blueprint. Once you have the blueprint, you can replicate it. In 1925, it was inherited authority. In 2026, it's going to be engineered authority. People are going to literally plan their strategy, right, and find themselves in authority. It moved from who you are to what do you design. Now, when it comes to wealth creation logic, in 1925, it was factories. In 2026, it's going to be algorithms, right? In 1925, it was assembly lines. In 2026, it's going to be automation. As in, it must be able to run with minimal intervention. You must be able to sleep and your system end to end is making money. In 1925, it was industrial capital. From 2026, it's intellectual and systems capital. Intellectual and systems capital. In 1925, it was physical scale. From 1926, it's going to be digital and network scale. Now, 1925 was about industrialists, Ford, Rockefeller system. 2026 above is going to be system builders, tech, platforms, intellectual property owners. Now, when it comes to education that produce elite, I did a bit of research on that. 1925, there were engineering schools. 2026 is going to be systems thinking schools. So if you don't understand systems intelligence, it must be one of the things you must master. In 1925, it was accounting and law. In fact, till our generation, you either wanted to study medicine, law, accounting, or engineering. In 2026, it's going to be data, AI, and behavioral science. In 1925, it was technical competence. In 2026, it's going to be strategic intelligence. In 1925, it was certification for jobs. Now it's going to be framework for dominance, right? Certification will still work, but then you must scale to framework for dominance. It moved from producing workers to innovators. We are moving from workers to those who can innovate. Now, when it comes to organizational model, in 1925, it was corporation. 2026 and above is going to be ecosystems. 1925, it was employees. Now it's going to be nodes. It was hierarchy. It's now going to be network. It was SOPs. It's now going to be adaptive system. So control moved from vertical command to horizontal influence. When it comes to communication model, 1925, it was radio and print. 2026, it must be digital media and AI, right? And so if you have not taken any course, any system on AI, for what is worth, make it a part of your budget to do something. It was mass media in 1925. It's now precision targeting. That's why you see the people who do ads, they now say targeted advert. Precision. You need to have the avatar of the people you are targeting. What is their purchasing power? It needs to be very clear. It used to be propaganda in 1925. Now it's narrative engineering. It's narrative engineering. You've got to push your narrative. It has to be, it was one to many. Now it's got to be many to many. So you want to have people who are going to be your mass media. So whoever controls the attention system will control outcomes. Profession that rose. In 1925, there was engineers. From now, it's going to be system designers. 1925, it was bankers. From now, it's going to be platform owners. It was managers before, it's now going to be strategists. It was industrial lawyers before, it's now going to be governance architects. So each era rewards those who organize complexity. So whatever is complex, be the one to organize it. Nigerian healthcare is complex, too cumbersome. Organize it. Our educational system is complex. Be the one to organize it. Whatever it is, how people move goods, how people export, organize it. The process is unnecessarily too cumbersome. Be the one to organize it. Now, what failed? In 1925, the failures were kings without systems. In 2026, the failures will be influencers without structure. You will see them fizzle out. In 1925, skilled craftsmen fail. In 2026, talented but undocumented people will fail. Your talent must now be placed on a system. There must be flow charting from everything, and it must be followed. That's why you cannot afford for anybody to compromise the culture of the organization. Landed elites failed. Emotional leaders are going to fail. Charisma only leaders, passion without process. Now, what is going to be the role of emotion? In 1925, it was tradition and loyalty. 2026, you must rent a space in the emotions of people, emotions and vibe. They must vibe with you. So it means that you've got to change from your conservative stance, even though that has to be your foundation, into, into a blended system where you understand the vibes. 1925, emotion was for national pride. Now it's about personal identity. It used to be hero worship. Now it's become cancel culture. That's why you don't want to offend the cancel culture. But even if you offend them, every publicity is good publicity, depending on how you spin it. Emotions were dethroned by structure. Now, what is the billionaire structure? This is very interesting. In 1925, formula, billionaires owned factories. 2026, billionaires are going to own platforms. In 1925, billionaires control labor. 2026, billionaires will control data. So data analytics, your dashboard has to be on steroids. Billionaires scale production. Billionaires are going to scale systems now. So in 1925, standardized output. You must now standardize experience. That's why whatever you are selling, the experience must be the same. Anyone sabotaging it must be taken out. That's why, in the last 1 week, I am revisiting all our experience. Revisiting everything is a serious fight. It's a serious tug of war, but I'm prepared for it because it's the season. Billionaires don't work harder, they design leverage. Right. And so, here is the parallel warning. In 1925, the people that didn't take advantage of what happened, these were the same things they said. This is just a phase. Tradition will survive. Factories won't replace craftsmen. These were the things they said. Oh, we will always be there. We will always do this. There are things that will never change. Please, never say never. In fact, the moment it enters your mind, that never say never, that's when. So people will have said, oh, we can't do online church. I see here people say that. That's not correct. Online church has come to stay. Pastor Jerry Eze has sustained online prayer meeting for 5 years. Every day they say, oh, even I never thought it could be done. Hey, but it's been done. Once it enters your mind that something cannot be done, then you are already extinct. In 2026, people are going to say systems are cold. It's very boring. Don't worry, we will run it. You hear those kind of things. Passion is enough. Oh, when you are passionate, follow your passion. Your passion will produce profit. All those motivational jargons. I don't like structure. You hear people say that. I don't like structure. Gen Zs don't like structure. We don't have to put structure around everything. History's verdict is brutal and is consistent. Just the same cynics who were behind schedule 100 years ago are also going to. So, unfortunately, many of us are descendants of the people who said this thing in 1925. The question is, are you going to repeat the same thing in another way in 1926? So here is the summary map. 1925 was about empire, industry, corporation, manager, and billionaires. 2025 to 2026 presents two options. You have got to choose this option. Emotions. If you leave this meeting and you sign a contract with, you are going to be emotional, it will produce chaos. It will lead to burnout for you, and then you become irrelevant. But the other option is, I am going to build the boring systems. The systems are very boring to build. But I'm going to do everything short and build the system, put orderliness in place. Then, having tested it, we're going to scale it. And I'm going to become an authority. Then prosperity will follow. But it's not the prosperity that is transient. It's a prosperity that is long-lasting, because you have now learned process and structure. You will hand it over to your children. So there's a ear training. I do family system office for the super rich right now. So I know what is called the year apparent educational system, wherein you create an intentional curriculum where you are grooming your success. That's why, we watch it in movies and we criticize them. The aristocrats, the royalties, they don't want any other person to just come into their family and marry their children. They are checking it out. To say, one lady said he went to visit her date's mother, and it was as if she went through an interview process, so she broke the relationship. But I understood. She doesn't understand the level of work they put in, and they're not going to bring in an outsider to operate to upset that system like Meghan has done for the British monarchy. This is why they do these things, because they know that royalty is a way of thinking, right? So are you going to build your system, order, scale, authority, and be prosperous? Well, the choice is yours. But my prayer for you today, as we start the year, Jesus prayed a prayer, or he was upset about Chorazin and Capernaum. He was cursing them literally, and he said, how I wish you knew the hour of your visitation. If you knew it, what belongs to you will never have been taken away from you. Men and brethren, there are things that has expired that you are holding on to. You need to let them go. You need to retool, upscale, learn new things, because the old order is gone, the new order is evolving. And when the change happens, everything resets itself to zero. Your competence, your experience will not matter. And like David Ben-Gurion said, all experts are experts of what was. There is no expert of what will be. To become an expert of the future, vision must replace experience. I pray that you will maximize this opportunity. You will take advantage of this opportunity, and that when the season is over, you would have emerged as a billionaire, as a person of power. Your prosperity will be intact because you understood timing and season. Thank you very much, all of you. It's been a pleasure sharing my thoughts with you. I hope you've learned something. God bless you. Over to you, Lena.
Thank you so much, PF. Today I've just been I would say bombarded because even the message in church today is in line with what you've just spoken about. And so, unless one is not wise, like when the word says, let he who has an ear hear what the Spirit is saying. So, even for us who are here, I hope you will not just listen once, but I pray that you will continue to listen. As he says, it's too loaded and very coded. My brain is actually, I can't take any more right now, but I pray that as the sessions go on throughout the year, you will not get bored with the boring things so that we can set systems in place for the not just the next generations. He said the next 7 generations. And that next generation will also do the same for the next 7 generations, which means it will actually be in perpetuity. So you can just drop in the comments what you've taken away from this session. It was a very, I would say, a grand opening and very unusual, not very, very exciting, like, the way that our minds and brains want to be tickled. But like you said, PF, the exciting things will not be there if we want systems to be built, because the boring work is what is going to produce what we need to systems that will outlive us. So earlier on, I couldn't manage to share our vision. So I pray that this time around everything is okay because everything is open. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly share our vision, and I hope you can all see my screen.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Just give me a second. Okay. So our vision is we are a tribe of influencers creating innovative solutions that transform our society in service to God and humanity. Our mission is to discover, to deploy a tribe of saviors who determine what happens everywhere they go. Our values are trustworthiness, worship, influence, responsibility, and love. And so thank you so much for joining our General Assembly today. If this place looks like where you want to hang out every week, please feel free to do so. And also invite your favorite people who have the Savior's DNA so they can be a part. Aside from our General Assembly meetings like this, you can become a member of the Savior's House of Saviors by subscribing via the link that is on the screen. And I would ask admin to also put the link in the description, sorry, in the chat box. This link allows you to register officially, join the region and department where you can function and make your premium membership subscriptions as well. Please note that the yearly membership subscription is 50,000 Naira or 100 USD. This membership offers value add, and so please ensure that you take advantage of that. Also, the House of Saviors, to join the Passioneers Cooperative Society, the application process is open to House of Saviors subscribed members only. If you heard PF earlier as he opened, he said there's going to be a lot happening this year, and would do well to be part of the cooperative society and all those investments he spoke about. So it's just not just, it's great things that are happening this year. The application process is open to the House of Saviors premium or subscribed members only. Our meetings are about impact, so we expect you to go out there and practice what you learn here and come back to share your results. Always remember, we are on a journey of raising saviors for our world. And so there are QR codes that you can scan on your phone just to access the various services. Our meetings are sustained by voluntary donations, and we appreciate your support. You can give through the link that is on the screen. I'll ask admin to also just continually drop the links in the chat box so that people who are able to donate can do so. For further inquiries, kindly contact Ayo on +234 818 466 8090. That is the number that you can contact Ayo on. And for this point now, I'm going to ask admin to unmute everyone so we can say our creed together. Admin. Kindly unmute everyone. Okay, so at the count of 3, we can go ahead. 1, 2, 3, let's go. We belong to a tribe of saviors, trustworthy. Whatever goes out of us must pass the test of worship unto God. We influence our world with supernatural lifestyle and solutions everywhere we go. And we take responsibility for what happens in us and around us. We are love. Heaven is what you experience when you encounter us. We are saviors. We create solutions for our world. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Have an amazing week. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Here's your God to take over the world. We'll keep
My soul, I go day by your side.